Welcome to Heart, Navigating Lipedema Together. I'm Lisa Duerre here with my fabulous co-host, dear friend, and as I like to say, original heart guide, Catherine Sayo. Dr. Catherine Sayo, we're here.
Hi, it's so good to be here with everyone. We had like 5 minutes before we actually went live, and we're both like, "Oh, I missed you. Oh, we've both been so busy. It's like so good to catch up."
I said, "Oh my gosh," and we matched too. Like, oh, you know what? We don't plan this stuff, right? Yeah, I'm so happy to be here with you and to start my Monday this way. You always put so much. I just feel resourced whenever I'm around you, and I always appreciate the heart that you bring, Catherine. So, yay! I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, thank you. We've had Lisa's been doing client work, and we're going to talk about it because I want to talk about living with lipedema out in the world and doing what you need to do. And Lisa has some wonderful stuff she can share with us. But in the time that she was doing that, we have been delving into surgery as an option. So we've had three webinars, um, two with Michelle Jacqua, who is our new director of our concierge program for we have decided to put together something where literally we're hand in hand with someone who wants to go through the surgical process. So there's more of that coming up in our event. But for now, um, really, our focus is about how do we travel? How do we travel? How do we go from A to B? How do we meet our work needs? Hi, Tamara. Tamara's here. She says, "Good morning, my beautiful sisters. Good morning to you and to everyone who's here." Um, so I want to back up because if you've been around, I've been really sick for a couple of years now, and it triggered with an airplane flight. I flew from Boston to Charleston for a workshop, really consulting with coaches that we've worked with who are just wonderful coaches, but they were doing a 4 day thing. And so I went down to South Carolina to Charleston, and just, as it would happen, they booked me Boston to Dulles in DC, which is a very short flight, and then Dulles to Charleston, which is another short flight. And for someone like me who has lipedema and lymphedema and unknown at the time, very deep central lymphatic dysfunction, my system broke, totally broke. Lisa was just saying to me, "Oh, I'm so glad to see your face instead of just your nose." I usually it's often that I'm on Zoom like this because I have so much shame at how swollen I am. My lymphatic system has gone berserk, and I've been doing a lot of work, and I have high hopes of turning it around. But these are the things we go through. And Lisa, you've been through dozen of these kinds of things in just the past week. What have you found to be challenging, and how have you met the challenge?
Oh, Catherine, this is we're gonna have to keep a track of the time because there is so much to unpack here. So first, let me acknowledge the hiding behind Zoom and like pulling your face down. I actually went and I asked about contour because my neck is so swollen. I was like, how do I make my neck look smaller? So I don't know if it's working today, but I put some on. Like it's when you're on camera and you're a public figure and you're an advocate and you're also in your own body, you want to present as your best. And I totally get wanting to hide behind Zoom. I often bring my camera closer so
Mhm.
that, I can frame myself more than the wider shot. But I have that too. And as much as I don't want to say I have shame, I do. There's times when I'm just like, oh, I don't like the way I look today. So maybe I can just take you on a brief journey. And I see Marilee's here and Julie and Tamara. I'm so glad you're all here. So I spent a week on site with dear clients who I adore through RLD group, right? Working with leaders in tech. And most of them are men and it's in person. And oh my gosh, even planning what I'm going to wear in person, right? What will look good with my compression over it? Should I show my arms or not? Are they going to be distracted by how I look and not hear what I have to say? Like the energy that is expended in just gearing up to be in person is next level for me, right? Because when I sit it with my chair with my legs up, I got my vibration plate, I got my pump next door, I can work on Zoom and I have a lot of energy. But when I'm in person and I don't have those uh, benefits nearby, it causes me anxiety. And I also get really hot. So I have a neck fan. I put it around my neck. I don't know if that's menopause or if it's just the excess fat in my body. I don't know, but all I know is I get hot. And I found a fan that looks like headphones. So I wear it all the time, but I also own that. So one of the things I can say is that for me, energetically, the expenditure of planning, I never used to think about this stuff. I used to worry about what I would wear, but not to this level of comfort and swelling. So, also shoes. Oh my gosh, what shoes can I wear that are professional enough and comfortable enough? And I would say there was like 2 or 3 weeks where I was just online looking at what's out there that's wide-legged and comfortable and professional, right? And I know tech is not wearing business suits anymore. It's jeans and polo shirts, right?
Mhm.
But for women, especially if you're going to be standing up, facilitating, strategic planning and leadership development for execs, I want to play that part. So that's just one thing. And we can talk about a lot more, but even just how to present and show up as my best was energetically draining. I know what I do. I'm very good at what I do. I can facilitate, right? And I know how to bring people together, but the noise that runs in the background is wild.
It's such a challenge. Terry, I think I want to put this on the screen because I think we all feel this. Terry Braniff says, "This is making me cry. This is my first video. Welcome, Terry. You are so welcome here. I feel like I'm the only one struggling. I just hate how I look. Thank you so much for doing this." I just want to say that it is the theme that runs through. And there's a quote that I read about befriending your body. I read it at every single webinar that we do, at every single learning opportunity, because as Lisa was sharing, it is at the core of everything. And my research was about body image dissatisfaction. And I want to say that while those of us who have weight and disfigurement due to our lymphatic diseases, etc., we think that we have reason to hate our bodies. I want to say in my research, some of the most beautiful women, when it was stunning to me that hatred has nothing to do with the actual visual presence of someone, that there's such deep inner hatred for us as women and with our bodies. It is incredible. And I think this is going to a deeper level, but hey, this is heart to heart.
Exactly. Yeah.
It is, I think it's the single, I said to someone, it's my life. It's my life. I'm 75 years old and I'm still feeling shame about how I look because I've gained so much weight because I've been so sick. I
Mhm,
mean, and the weight that I've gained is not normal weight. It is related to being in a dysfunctional lymphatic system.
mhm.
So, Lisa, when you talk about how your clients are going to receive you, I mean, and I know I've seen you, you're absolutely brilliant at what you do. It's
Thank
like
you.
amazing. But, they love it, they love you. But what is that internal mechanism that goes on inside of you that brings you to the place where you say, "Well, I know I'm good at what I do, but how are they gonna really receive me?"
Yeah, this situation for me is interesting because it was actually I know a lot of the people already, and they knew me in a different body. They knew me before my lipedema flared. They knew me before I could barely walk. So that's what they knew. And then, the pandemic hit and Zoom, and I always talk about what you don't see behind the Zoom screen, right? There's a lot going on. And so I think it was extra heightened for me because I was like, I didn't want to see the look on their faces when they saw me now versus me then. Right. My after is way different than my before, and it's not going the way society usually wants it to go.
Mhm.
And so I did a couple of things. One, I was honest with the core team and I told them, and even the room set up, I'd like a podium and a chair because there's going to be times when I'm going to need to sit. And so owning that first, they were like, no problem, right? The second thing was I had a couple of team members from RLD group with me, and I told them I'm feeling nervous and anxious, and I could use your support. Like running mics in the room, I normally do that myself. I hand the mic to the person. I'm like, I know I can't do that, so they helped run the mics, right? I brought the fan, and then the other thing I would say is that there was like dinners and happy hours and all the stuff in between because it was an executive gathering for multiple days. And when I first walked outside, I was like, how far am I walking? Right. And where can I sit is what's in my head. And I see all these beautiful tables and flowers in the bar and all the food. And all I was looking for was a chair. And when I finally saw a chair, I realized I would not be mixing with people. I would actually be sitting at a table. And I had to decide, do I want to put myself through pain to just fit in and mix with people? Or do I want to sit and just honor my body? And for a moment, I was like, I'm just going to stand. I'm not going to, nope, nope, just stand there, just grin and bear it. And then I thought, if I loved my body enough, I would be sitting. So I moved and I told my team, hey, mix and mingle. You don't have to stay with me. I'm good. And one of my colleagues came up and said, hey, I can see you sitting here by yourself. Is there anything I can do for you? I said, my legs just are really in pain. I'm good. And all of a sudden, people just started coming and sitting with me. And so what I realized was that I'm way harder on myself than anybody else is going to be. And the more that I take care of myself publicly, the more I give people a chance to really see me. Because another one of my colleagues came up to me and said, I saw you sitting. What's going on? I'm like, well, I have this disease, lipedema, 1 in 11 women, blah. I give the whole spiel. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you. And he said, I would have never known you were in pain these past couple of days. You are so awesome at what you do. I had no idea. And I asked myself, I wonder if that's doing a disservice. Like, I wonder if I could have been more transparent. But I also knew the goal wasn't about my pain. The goal was about these leaders connecting. So it just made me realize how long I lived with pain and never talked about it, how easy it is for me to hide it. I'm very good at hiding it. And also what a relief it was to be off my feet at that happy hour and to take care of myself. So I think it's a constant inner attunement and outer awareness about what's going on.
Mm.
And I try and stay to what's possible versus why is this so hard? Like I really try and shift to a positive frame and flip whatever negativity is coming at me into
Mhm.
an opportunity for more authenticity, um, more vulnerability, right? But I don't have a shirt on that says, this is lipedema. I quietly went to a table and then just wanted to see what happened. But did I judge myself? You should be talking to more people. I'm like, no, I'm where I'm at. I'm where I'm at. And I'm here and I'm doing what I can. So I don't know if that answered your question, Catherine, but that's a little bit about, what ran through my heart and in my head when I was doing that.
I think so, not only for me, but for our audience, which is wonderful because Tamara says breaks my heart on so many levels. Um, Terry says again, I so get this. I'm exactly the same.
Mm.
And Vicky says, oh, how true. I have forced myself to stand when I needed to sit down. I try to hide my pain. We've all been there.
Yeah.
I can remember doing rounds. Oh my God, I can't believe it. I was at the Foldy Clinic for quite a number of months when I was, doing stuff in Europe. And we would do rounds in the morning, which meant walking through the clinic and standing for hours, like a couple of hours. And I couldn't not do it. It was, it was too valuable. So this thing about forcing ourselves to go beyond our limitations And for me, I'm just going to add to this because I've been talking about it. Um, there's shame.
Mhm,
There's something that is so, it's irrational because, well, it's that thing of, the first thing that came, you mean it's not my fault, was the first thing that came to me when I finally pieced together lipedema. And it feels like my fault. It all feels like my fault.
mhm, mhm.
And not only my fault, but it feels like it's because there's some very fundamental flaw that is beyond fixing, can't be fixed. It's so deep and so profound. And I think, traveling for me brings that front and center because, at this point on a plane, I need if I were to fly, I'm not ever flying again. That last trip did me in. Literally, I was in the emergency room and in and out of the hospital and in bad shape. I have to fly with an extender.
Mhm.
Um, or worse, need more than one seat. I mean, there's just so many different pieces that are part of this journey that add to the yeah, the self-judgment and the self-shame.
Yeah, well, can I join you on that? Because I need an extender and I need 2 seats, and, that's another thing of even prepping for this, right? That I had to go through not I had to go through, that I went through, like, I have choice, right? Okay, how can I make this air flight the most possible comfortable I can? And how do I make sure I don't have what Catherine has? Because the minute you hear Catherine Seo had an issue on an airplane, people perk up, right? And I talked to you about it. I'm like, I'm afraid to fly. What if this happens to me? And you said, well, there's some things you need to look for. I had some advice, some insight given. And I flew to Potsdam, right? Remember, I was so afraid to go to Potsdam because I was worried I was going to have your issue in another country. And what I know to be true for me is I have to get in the pool the day before I fly. I pump in the morning. I wear my compression. Wherever I go, I make sure there's a pool. So I land, I make my way to a pool as fast as I can. It's not always immediate. I was working with clients, setting up the room and connecting and having a dinner. So that came later. But um, it's like that's a non-negotiable if I'm going to be okay. And the other thing that I chose to really do was to fly Southwest because they have a person of size policy. So thank goodness where I was going, Southwest goes, and I paid for 2 tickets. And then on the other end of it, when I get back, you get one reimbursed. So I had 2 tickets, but you still get this tiny little boarding pass. It says reserved on it, and it's open seating. So my anxiety is through the roof of that someone's going to want that seat, even though I paid for it. How do I talk about it? I go through this every time. And I finally am at the point where I paid for that seat. If someone says, "Can I sit there?" I'm going to say, "No, that seat's taken and paid for." That's my answer. Not I'm too big, I don't want to squish you, or I don't want my hips in the seatbelt, all that crap, right? No, I paid for it. It's reserved. And I also used to wait to see if I could fit every time and before I would ask for an extender. And now I walk in because I have early boarding because I have the person of size. I make my way up and I say, I'd like an extender before all the craziness happens. And then I can just handle it myself. So I actually bought an extender. I can't always make it work. So I just ask. But from all the mental energy that goes around, what are people going to think with that empty seat? And are they going to want it? And why is she up front? Why does she get to board early? And all of that. I'm like, you know what? I need help. And so the other thing I know is I can't stand in the security line for very long, Catherine. And so I also now, as you know, I request wheelchair support. And so I use a wheelchair and I have someone who helps me every time at the airport get through security and to the gate. I'm there 2 hours early because I don't want the stress and the anxiety. I get hot too, right? They take me near to a nearby restroom and then I just sit at the gate and work and elevate my feet. And in the beginning, like this all started last year. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you can't stand. What's wrong with you?" You know what? No, there's services available. I need that help. And you know what? I can do a really good job when I'm with my clients because I've resourced myself enough with the support. And the people that do those wheelchairs are so kind. Oh my gosh, I strike up a conversation with everyone and I tell them about lipedema. I'm like, well, everybody at the Portland airport certainly knows about lipedema if they've met me.
Mhm.
So it's like I can choose to feel shame or I can choose to be grateful that help is available and
Mm.
love myself enough to take the help.
And love others. I mean,
Yep.
you're loving yourself. It makes it easier for everybody. Everybody, because so many people love you. They
Oh,
they
thank
wanna
you.
see you okay. And
Yeah, my sister texts me every time, "Tell me you got a wheelchair." I'm like, "I got the wheelchair." I sent her a picture of my toes with the Portland,
mhm,
carpet because that's like a thing you do, but
mhm,
my toes were in a wheelchair, and she was like, "Heart," right? Like,
yeah,
they don't wanna see me struggle,
yeah.
you know? Yeah.
It's again, it's these are the challenges, and as you were talking, it's striking to me, because I'm coming off of having done several, webinars about surgery,
Mhm.
about the conversation about how it's cosmetic, and I'm like, "It is not cosmetic.
It is
This
not
is
cosmetic.
not cosmetic. This is I mean, this is a disease
Yeah,
that's progressive,
yeah.
and that takes life away from us."
Yeah.
Except we're pretty good at fighting for what we want.
And I think we're really good about making it work in whatever way we can, but and I'll tell the world, right? Like I told you what 4 or 5 months ago, I'm at the point now where I'm considering surgery. And I was seriously, my 2 colleagues, they were like, "What's your pain scale?" And I'm like, "I'm at an 8 right now. Like I got to do something, right?" And I said, "Will you remind me of this when I'm afraid to go forward with my surgery? Will you remind me of this moment? Because then it gets better. Then you get off your feet and then you just like isolate and hide and then you're fine again. Fine. Right." And I asked my colleagues to remind me. Right. And I also went on my private Facebook group. I went live from the pool. I was in the pool and I said, "Listen, I don't want to be here. I just don't want to be in pain. And I'd rather be networking with people, but I'm in the pool. And surgery is not going to stop the need for the pool, right? But the pain while I'm standing will reduce. I'm hopeful. And as I go through that process, when I go through that process, I'm going to be sharing it. And I can't wait to better understand my body when I go through that process too, Catherine, after doing 2.5+ years being coached and guided by you and
Mhm,
Lipedema Simplified and
mhm.
doing all I can to ready myself for that. Because, yeah, when I first found out, the first thing I wanted was surgery. It's like, how can I get this out as fast as I can? And here I am 2.5 years later, flying and working, and it's not easy, but I'm doing it. And the pain is great enough now that I'm going to take that step too. I am going to do the surgery.
Oh, and I think it's yes, and I'm here to support you, and our
Thank you.
and you'll be you'll be in our concierge. You'll be one of
Right?
our
Oh, yeah, I can't wait. I wanna be the first one to sign up for concierge.
first
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
So, I can't help but, I wanna give a shout out to a friend of mine. Her name is Nina Manelson, and she came and did a number of talks for us, over the years, and she and I have done some co-work together. She talks about body peace, and she talks about that craziness of what we do around our own judgment and perception and how we limit ourselves and the joy in our lives based on all of this. And again, not just us, but it is such a cultural phenomena. Anyway, I'm doing a retreat with her this weekend. I do very little these days. I mean, I do our stuff and that's about it.
Mhm.
And she's doing a 3-day little retreat over the weekend close by to where I'm living, and so I'm like, "You know?" Eh so we met, and one of the things that she set up is a spa, several hours of spa. So, bathing suits,
Mhm.
uh, in in and out of, hot tub, swimming pool, all of which I love. A cold plunge. It's like, um, so so it's this Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and I was struck because the first thing that I did, and I didn't realize I was doing it until she started to unpack how judgmental we are. But the first thing that I did is I looked at everyone who was on Zoom. There's going to be about 15 of us. So there was the other women on Zoom and evaluated. I'm the fattest one here. And it's just like so deeply embedded. And I I actually brought it up. I talked about it, and it was fascinating to see that we all carry, I'm the worst one here. I'm
Mhm.
the something. It doesn't matter what it is. Like for me, it just happens to be size, but that's such a constant. So I'm working on letting it go. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, you're not alone, Catherine. I mean, the people I was traveling with are marathon runners on our team.
Mhm.
I'm like lean hiking marathon outdoorsy enthusiasts, and I'm like, we're gonna walk in, and I'm gonna be like bookended by people that are like a third of me on both sides, right? That's a thought. It's a
Mm,
real, and I'm like, okay, let it go, right? Um, Getting in a pool in public.
mhm.
I would never do that before this, but now I know how necessary it is. I'm like, I don't, if you look at me and take a picture, I'm going to tell you it's lipedema. I'm over it. Right.
Mhm.
But I definitely had to figure out how to be okay with that. And I also think that when you presence that, you gave everyone a gift to let them know you more, to let them know that you were struggling with these thoughts. And I
Mhm.
think that's brave and kind, and that is about making peace, because what I know is if I don't figure out a way to presence that for myself or with the people I'm with, it's energy that's in the way and can be misinterpreted. You know, it can
Yeah,
be misinterpreted. Instead of like, wow, I'm having a moment. You're all much smaller than me. And here we are. We're going to be in a pool together. Okay. I'm going to go process that. Like, that's
yeah,
just real, you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been very interactive today. There's been so many comments. Thank you. Um, um, we're coming to a close, but we could go on and on and on and on this. And we will. We are going to have this conversation. We're going to continue this conversation. Thank you, Lisa, as always, for going to the heart of the matter and what's current and what's happening and bringing life to it. I am going to remind people that our event is in 2 weeks. We're going to be talking about it in more depth next Monday, because the event starts on a week from this Friday. So it's the 27, 28, 29 of September. You honestly don't want to miss it. It is phenomenal. I just put the link in the chat. Um, and I'm going to put it up on the screen just in case. There you go. learn.lipedema-simplified.org/lipedema hyphen lymphedema hyphen event. So 3 days of a deep dive into what you need in order to manage your lipedema, your lymphedema, your lymphatic disorder in a way that brings grace and graciousness to your life. And so Lisa and I thrilled about it. Lisa's had a lot to do with pulling together some of our guests. We have quite a number of very visible people in the community. Patty Cornute, who founded Lipedema Fitness, is coming to speak.
Yay.
Beth, Curvy Girl Beth. uh,
Yay.
yeah, there's a few others that, Lisa, what I
Oh,
what
Sean and Ashley, the
John and
lipedema mamas are
Ashley, yeah,
coming. Yeah.
lassoed.
Oh, well, hearts connected, and we want to support the community. And I listen, to get to the point where I can say out loud, I'm pursuing surgery is because of all the work that I did and learned in heart to hearts. These heart to heart events are not just talk at you, they're connecting you with yourself, with your own unique body, with experts and with community. And there's nothing I've ever experienced like it. So I definitely I hope we get to see you all there.
Yeah,
And I see Tamara's comment. Yeah, Tamara, don't miss it, right? And Curvy Girl Beth is coming on Tamara's live stream tomorrow, which is awesome. If I could say one thing, Catherine, about this conversation that we're having today is I hope
Yes.
more workplaces think about this. They think about chairs with arms. They think about the tall tables. They think about what it takes to travel. They think about, making sure there's chairs available just if you're presenting. Like these types of things, my highest hope is that they become the norm, not the one off. And
Mhm.
that with each of us here today, with Gloria and Terry and Julie and Tamara, I mean, let's see, Kristen, Auntie Meg, Anne Marie. There's so many people commenting here. We're not alone. It's not just you that's going through this. There's 1 in 11 women. And the
Mhm.
more we talk about it and normalize this, the better the workplaces will be, which ripples into our communities, back into our hearts. So if you like this episode, everyone, please like, share, comment, help us raise awareness about this. And Catherine, I want just like to say to you, your transparency about, wanting to be down here and not be seen or never flying again, or even when you talk about surgery, how hell bent and adamant you were about, one way that you were going to get this done no matter what. Your whole life experience that you share with us helps inform us to ask better questions, to tune in with ourselves, and to also give ourselves some grace
Mhm.
because you model that. And I'm so grateful to call you friend and colleague. You are a huge light in this community, and I'm so grateful we get to have these heart to hearts together.
Well, I'll tell you, it's an amazing community, and you are such a dear sister and friend. It's
Thank
just
you.
wonderful to journey together.
Thank you.
I was talking to someone, and she was saying that the concierge program that we're just developing is hand in hand. And I thought, that's true. That's what we do. Hand in hand. It's like somehow it makes it easier, more
Mhm.
tolerable. We find a way to laugh together over things that would be totally devastating. And
Yeah.
so, with that, I'm so grateful. So very, very grateful. Thank you, Lisa, as always. Our heart to heart. And thank Gloria says, you both inspire me. I'll say you definitely inspire me, my friend. You
Oh,
definitely inspire me. So
I
thank
gotcha.
you. And anything you want to close us out with?
I think you said it earlier. It's a great reminder for our conversation today. It's not your fault,
Hmm.
but it is our responsibility to take care of ourselves. It's not your fault, and it is your responsibility to take care of yourself. So if there was something you learned today or a comment we made that you want to hold into your heart, please do. You're loved. You are not alone. And from Dr. Catherine Seo and myself, Lisa Duerre, thank you for being here today in this heart to heart. We are navigating lipedema together. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.